This is Mitch, and welcome to the 1000 Houses podcast. I have John Jackson here. We've been friends for a long time. Had him down to the ranch. We've met at places all over the country. He is a formidable force in the lease option department. So, everybody needs to develop that one niche, and that's what John's done, and his niche is lease options. So how long you been doing this, John? How you doing?
Man, Mitch, good to see you. First of all, I got to say that introduction sucked pond water from a duck's ass. I thought there'd be like music, flames, something like a da-da-da-da, something powerful, like I would drop from the ceiling. And that was like Mitch is in a closet talking about me. This is, I thought there'd be something more exciting, but moving along. Yeah. All right.
Here's someone that'll tell you that you don't deserve it.
I knew it was you. I know that.
Jeez, Mike. Oh man.
What do I got to do about those Facebook ads? Are those like paid per click when you send them to me, or because I click the hell out of them?
Yeah, my credit card loves you. Yeah.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right. Yeah, we're targeting you, Mike. Are you getting the ones for the adult diapers?
All right, so confetti and balloons all aside,
this is going to be a great podcast. So I've been doing so adult diapers, lease options, and Mike. So I've been doing lease options for 19 years. This is, I think, the 19th year this would be the 19th year I've done lease options. And the reason I really focused on lease options to begin with is because it didn't involve any capital, no money, no risk. I didn't have to fix a house or anything like that. I was simply locking up a nice property with a contract, and then assigning that contract. So it didn't involve any money or risk or estimating repairs or anything like that. So I've been doing it for 19 years. And there's a saying, the riches is in the niches. In your case, your main your main niche is in owner finance, buying the inexpensive houses, then turn around owner financing. That's your niche. My niche is lease options. And so that's what I've done for 19 years, and have trained people for, oh my gosh, I think I started training people in 2008 or 9, I think.
You said something that would appeal to a lot of people out there. You don't really need a lot of money to do this. Is that correct?
When I started, I spent $97 on a training, on a course. It was the most basic course you could ever imagine. The website, I think, is still there. It's and you're going to think I'm joking. It's nakedinvestor.com. It's actually naked-investor.com. Michael Carbonari out of Florida was teaching lease options. I bought his course for $97. And then as far as actually doing a deal, I spent, I believe, $68 on a sign to put in the yard because it was aluminum and ugly as sin. But the point was, I didn't have to make payments on the house. I didn't have to buy the house. I wasn't fixing up the house, doing any repairs or anything. I was simply putting the lease option together, tying up the contract, put my sign in the yard, and someone drove by and said, "Oh my God, I want that house."
So you're dealing in pretty houses, which a lot of people are under the impression that when you start out in the business, you've got a wholesale, you have to deal with ugly houses. So how does it work? How are you able to go in and get pretty houses with no money?
Yeah, so the way it works is you're simply tying them up with a contract. So what we're looking for, let me back up a little bit, Mitch. In real estate, when it comes to sellers, there's different levels of desperation, right? It starts off with for sale by owner, then for rent by owner, MLS, houses that are for lease. And then you could jump down to, like, say, wholesale, then subject to, then foreclosure and short sale. We're dealing with the top 4 levels, people that are for sale by owner a lot of times, that had tried to sell the house for a month, maybe 2 months, it's just sitting there. We are plan B, right? So we're not working with homeowners that are, just desperate to get out of this house and sell for 40 cents or 50 cents of the dollar. We're simply the plan B for homeowners that have had their house in the market for a month or 2 months or 3 months, or even for rent by owner. For rent by owner, Mitch, anybody that has their house for rent by owner is going to fall pretty much into one of 2 categories. Either an investor, which we work with, or an accidental landlord. There again, we can work with them. Either way, for rent by owner is really low-hanging fruit as well. So we work with for sale by owner, for rent by owner. We work with houses that are listed. Matter of fact, before we got on this call, I was pulling a list for houses that were listed on the market over 30 days in the Houston area is over 2,200. And 2,200 people are about to get a piece of direct mail from me.
Okay, so explain, you said a term, I thought it was interesting, unintended landlords or accidental landlords.
Accidental landlord, yeah. If you've got a for rent by owner, it's either an investor, right, that has rental properties and they're renting out their houses, or it's someone that had tried to sell the house, couldn't sell it, and they've had to move on, and when the house doesn't sell, what do you do with it? You stick a for rent sign in the yard. They're an accidental landlord. They didn't mean to become a landlord, right? And so the landlording is not their shtick. And so we come in and say, hey, I saw your house for rent. Would you consider selling on a lease purchase? And if they say no, then we say, oh, you're an investor. And then we shut up. And then if they say, yeah, I'm an investor. Great. Are you buying more houses? Because I get houses all the time that you may be interested in. And I'm really pressuring them to see where they are. But if I ask them if it's a for rent by owner and I say, hey, would you consider a lease purchase instead of just renting it to God knows who? And if they go no, I'm not really. I'm not interested in that. And I say, oh, are you an investor? And then I shut up, and if they go, well, no, not really. Okay, boom, I got them. It was an
accidental landlord, or it's not their shtick. They're probably getting worn out by the tenants.
Yes,
probably killing them because they didn't know the right person to put in the first place, and heaven forbid put in a family member, right?
God, yes, yeah, that makes Thanksgiving a little uncomfortable. Could you please pass the mashed potatoes, Sally? And how's that rent payment coming?
Yeah. How's the last 3 months you owe me? So John has a lot of free stuff at his website. He's got a free training going on out there. I want everyone to go to 1000houses.com/J Jackson. And anything we talk about on here, or any websites or blogs or podcasts or whatever he wants to refer to here, it'll all be over in the show notes, because that's where 1000houses.com/J Jackson will take you. And that way you don't have to write anything down. All you got to remember is J Jackson as the keyword there at the end. And you can get over there anytime you want to and find it. Talk about this. A lot of people think you got to start off an inexpensive house. What are the average price ranges of the house you're dealing in?
Yeah, so the houses that we're working with typically are above $200,000. So what in the hell is going on there, Mitch? Tell Mike to just get out of the room. Doesn't Mike needs to understand, I'm a very important person in the real estate world. Okay. I don't have time for these distractions like that.
They're tiptoeing out now.
Okay. Man, you thought Ron LeGrand was an ass. Wait till you get me and some noise in the background. I'll tear somebody's butt up. So the average price of the house that we do is about 200,000 and above. And I say 200,000, it depends on the area. We do houses across the United States, or my students do. Here in Texas, the average house we do is about $325,000, because that's about the average, most places that we're working with. So again, for a $325,000 or $350,000 house, these are nice, pretty, move-in ready houses, but the owner simply needs a plan B. Whereas with wholesaling, it's totally different. You're working with typically ugly, torn down houses. I mean, oh my God, I'm on all these email lists from these wholesalers, right? And I see these houses they're selling, and I'm just like, I'm so thankful that I don't do that. I have no desire to try to wholesale, a $30,000 crap box in the middle of nowhere. First of all, because I have to spend all that money in the marketing to get that lead, then negotiate with that seller, then try to estimate repairs, then market it. I just don't have time for that. Whereas with us, nobody else is targeting these sellers. Nobody else is targeting the for sale by owners the way we are, or the listed houses that have some age on them the way that we are, or the expired listings the way that we are. We're the only ones marketing them, so there's no competition. We don't have to estimate repairs. And we don't have to negotiate on the price. The owner's going to get, for the most part, really what they're asking for the house.
So give us a case study, like some deal that you did recently, kind of outline a typical lease option deal that you're happy with.
Okay. So with the lease option assignment, which I really specialize in, it's a one-time payday. All right. So you get paid on the assignment, kind of like when you assign, like a wholesale deal when you assign that. So let me think here. For example, just had a house in down near Austin. I think it was not too far from Canyon Lake, actually. Down near Austin, it was $425,000. The student did $425,000 on that one. I don't remember what the owner was asking. I think about 420 or 415. Anyway, we set the price. I don't want to confuse people on the podcast. We set our option price a little bit higher than what the owner's asking. And we get paid a down payment that goes towards, we get paid an option fee that goes towards the purchase of the house. On that one, I think it was 425. I think the student did it's almost 25,000 assignment fee on that and had it for less than 3 weeks. So nobody was marketing to this homeowner that had his house in the market for over 2 months, almost 3 months. My student marketed to him, locked it up with a contract, marketed that house and that contract, and got a buyer within 3 weeks. It was almost, I think it's 25,000 down. So the buyer that couldn't sell and the buyer that couldn't buy, he put them together and closed the deal.
So I'm taking it that the financing was subject to. So you did a subject to deal on that?
No, that's the thing. So we're not taking the house subject to. So there's no transfer of title with the lease option or with the lease option assignment. We're simply locking up the house with the lease option contract. Okay. And then there's no transfer of title between our company and the seller. We then market that to the end buyer, who typically needs a little bit of time to get financed. So we're not locking up the house with a subject to. And then what happens, Mitch, is the buyer within 12 months will get financed and cash the seller out.
So you get paid to assign the lease and to someone, and then they move in and they're exercising the lease, but they got so much time to refi and get everybody taken care of, or get the owner of the house taken care of. Okay, so I get it. There are plans that you use when you have money, and there's also plans and strategies that you can use when you don't have money. And if you don't have money, which is where I started out, did you have a bunch of money when you started out, John?
No, I'm telling you, I spent $68 on a sign plus $97. So there you go.
So almost everybody starts out broke in this business, and you have to use strategies that allow you to navigate and make some real money with not a lot of money out of your pocket because you don't have any. And so if that suits, if that fits you and you're out there listing, maybe you need to go to 1000houses.com/J Jackson, check out the free stuff, check out his free training. There's a whole bunch. I mean, John gives away a lot of free stuff. And I do too, by the way, at 1000houses.com. Do you get chastised for that? Because some people chastise me like, you're giving away everything away.
I do. I give away a lot of stuff. I give away. Here's the thing. The only thing I do not give away, I never have and never will. The only thing I don't give away for free are my 17-page lease option contracts. They cost me over $30,000 in legal fees and through different law firms to have drafted for the different states, for Texas and different states. And so that's the only thing I don't give away. I give away my seller price sheets, my lease option calculator. I give away all kinds of documents I use every day.
So you guys get over there at 1000houses.com/J Jackson. I mean, there's really enough from John to know a good amount about what's going on. It's always best to get a coach or something when you decide that that's exactly what you want to do, because you're going to learn, one way or the other. You're either going to pay the street or you're going to pay a guy that knows. You can measure a good coach by what he makes you. You'll never be able to measure the coach by how many deals he kept you from losing, or how many lawsuits he kept you out of, or how that document can save your ass that he spent $30,000 on that you don't have to spend that much money on because someone's already done it. And these documents are live documents half the time, because we go around and we think we have ironclad documents, and then something happens and you go, how do I stop that from happening? So you got to add something to the document. Well,
yeah,
when you've been in the business as many years as John's been in there, this document's has gotten less and less and less and less holes in it, till finally we'd like to think we're bulletproof. You know what I mean? So are we ever really bulletproof? You never know, but
you never know.
You can go a long, long, long ways down the road to avoiding a lot of different things. I know that I spent a ton of money on my contracts, and my contracts with private lenders, my contracts with people that are buying my houses. And what a blessing to have someone who's already been down the road to do that, and not only get the documents, but get some quality time. Probably you have boot camps, or is it all online that you train?
Yeah, so So we've got the what we call the the home study where people get we're still old school, Mitch. I still like the physical binder. We ship a physical binder to them with the entire operation manual that they can go through. They get online access to videos that take them step by step by step. They get all my documents, all my contracts, no matter what state they live in. So you get access to absolutely everything. And we even include a certificate to a 3-day boot camp. We typically do two to three 3-day boot camps a year, normally in Texas, just because it's centrally located. And that, as a matter of fact, I'm the only person in the U.S. that offers a 3-day lease option boot camp. I can assure you there's some great music at my boot camp and some inappropriate jokes. So, but it's a lot of fun. We actually do live seller calls there at the boot camp, and where students will bring us their leads, and we'll call the sellers live. Let everybody hear how those conversations go. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Those kinds of events with the live calls are really educational, because you can talk or try to describe but when you hear it going live and you hear the objections live and you hear the responses live, and really, isn't that what it's all about? Is learn all the objections that are possible, and then learn the answers to those objections, so that you don't have to you don't sound like you're just repeating, that you actually own the response, and that's how you consummate deals. And it's got to be some repetition, and you won't be the best that you're ever going to be the first day you get on. You're gonna fall down a couple of times, but it's all in the repetition.
Mitch, when I talking about talking to sellers, again, one of the great things about the lease options versus wholesaling is the conversation's totally different. With a wholesale deal, which I know you buy a lot of houses from wholesalers, but those wholesalers that get those deals, first of all, they're typically cold calling or texting someone that just happens to have a piece of property that isn't even marketed for sale yet. So the first thing they have to do is overcome the hurdle of tracking down that property owner. Then the next hurdle is getting them on the phone. Then the next hurdle is talking them into at least being interested in selling the property. And once they got that far, I go, okay, great. So you're interested in selling the house finally. All right, now let me beat you down on a price. Right now they got that hurdle overcome. With a lease option, almost everybody we're talking to is already trying to do something with the house, whether it be selling it or renting it. So we don't have all those objections and hurdles to overcome so much. But when it comes to talking to sellers, I teach to be the doctor. Simply be the doctor. When you go to the doctor's office for some reason, and you're sitting in the room there on the table, an exam table. Well, the doctor isn't outside the door going, "Oh my God, I hope he doesn't ask me any tough questions. I hope he's not rude to me." No, he just comes in and says, "Okay, Mitch, what's going on?" And you go, "Well, I got this, blah, blah, blah." And you're telling him where it hurts or what the symptoms are. And he's writing down notes. Got it. And then he will typically tear off this piece of paper, hand it to you and say, "Mitch, here's your prescription. Take 2 a day, blah, blah, blah." Now, it's not the doctor's job to make you take that prescription. It's not the doctor's job to make you go to CVS. The doctor's only job is to listen to what's going on and give his recommendation. Here's your prescription. And if we approach sellers like that, it takes off a lot of the anxiety of, "Oh my God, what if they yell at me, or what if I don't say the right thing?" No, you're just listening and having a conversation, saying things like, "So do you still live in the house, or have you already moved out?" "Oh, you moved out? Wow, when did you move out?" "Wow, 3 weeks ago." "Okay, so it's been sitting vacant for 3 weeks. All right, and so is there furniture still there?" "No, it's vacant. Just totally vacant." "Okay, so what are you going to do if the house doesn't sell the next couple of weeks?" "Really?" "Okay." And you're writing, taking notes. And then in my case, typically when I tear off that prescription is for a short-term, full-price lease purchase. Now, it's not my job to make that seller take that prescription. He may not take it at first, but more times than not, if a week or 2 weeks go by and that house still hasn't moved, he's going to call me back and talk to me about that prescription. Say, "Hey, tell me about that prescription."
Perfect example, man. Perfect example. What do you say to the guys out there that are new and trying to get into the business, and they're listening to this strategy for the first time, and they've heard a lot of other strategies? I mean, what's your advice to these guys?
Anybody starting off in real estate, it's different now than it was when I was starting off, when you were starting off. Craigslist, wasn't even around, I don't think, back then. And so now there's so many strategies and so many, it's the same strategies. It's just that they're more in our face, right? Whether it be YouTube or Facebook or whatever. And so shiny object syndrome is very easy to succumb to. So I would say that the first thing you want to look at is, for starting off, is what are your comfort levels? What's your personality like? Is your personality geared more towards like some people's, where it's I don't want to have to negotiate or beat the seller down. I just want to be there to help. Okay, well, that's probably a lease option. Maybe your personality is such that you enjoy the thrill of trying to get that best price and negotiating and haggling. Okay, well, then probably wholesaling is your best option. Maybe your personality is such that you're a very analytical, very, very number driven analytical, which is not me, but very, very analytical. You love spreadsheets and stuff. Okay, guess what? Boom, commercial, multifamily. All those calculations that go into multifamily commercial outside of cap rate and NOI. You see a spreadsheet for a multifamily property, and that's an analytical, genius savant that puts that together. So you got to decide what's your personality like and what's going to fit your personality. Because if you despise having to haggle and negotiate with people, well, then wholesaling is not you. It's not you. If creating a spreadsheet and plugging in numbers and analyzing, doing deep analytics on a 200 unit apartment complex is not your thing, well, then maybe it's just raising capital, or maybe it's lease options, or maybe it's rehab. But find what your personality aligns with, then pursue that.
Okay, so tell us about all this free stuff that people can get their hands on. If they go over to 1000houses.com/J Jackson, what can they expect to find over there? What kind of free stuff are you handing out?
Yeah, so first of all, I've got a free training that's about an hour and 15 minutes long that dives into pretty deep about lease options, about what is a lease option, where do we find the sellers, different ways we market to the sellers, how do we find them, how do we find the buyers, and then how does it all come together? So there's about an hour and 15 or so minute training on that. They're also going to get pre-drafted emails. These are the exact emails that I literally copy and paste and send to sellers, because I've got this down to a copy paste structure. So if anybody watching this or listening, if you can copy and paste, you can pretty much do what I'm talking about here with lease options. So they're going to get my copy and paste emails. They're going to get my attachments that I send with those emails, my price sheet, my comparison sheet, my lease option calculator that makes it so easy to calculate the numbers on a lease option. You literally plug in what the seller's asking and it spits out the numbers for you. So I'm going to give you all that stuff. And I'm going to give you, I think there may be even a couple of risque photos of me.
Well, be sure and sign up for that. 1000 J Jackson. So, man, I appreciate you taking the time to be on. You always deliver a value. You're very entertaining, even in your boot camps. Whenever you're in San Antonio, I like to stop by and see you because, man, you just never know. John Jackson's not very politically correct ever, and so it's just always fun. And go there, and you make learning fun. You make the conversation fun, and it's always a good time. So. When are you coming to San Antonio next?
I will probably be there in about 4 weeks. It'll be a real short trip, but I want to come back there with Karina, and we'll want to come to your ranch and shoot some animals and stuff. I'm going to do that. Yeah.
No, we're going to feed the animals, John.
I mean, feed the animals and tag them with 9mm or whatever it is. I don't know. I've never shot an animal, so I don't freaking know.
You're coming down to feed the animals, John. Feed the animals.
I'm going to feed the animals. Yeah, we've got to be we don't want to offend anybody here that doesn't eat meat.
I told him we had a petting zoo, and John really lit up. So
yeah.
All right, man. This is Mitch Stephen with 1000houses.com podcast. I'd like to thank livecom.com, livecom.com, for sponsoring this episode. There's a reason why I have 4 days on the market. You can check out livecom.com, watch the videos on the homepage, and see how the last 200 houses I put up for sale lasted about 4 days on the market before I got a contract. So check it out, livecom.com. All right, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. John, thanks for being on.